I wrote a book a couple of years ago, and it's called Cursed Spite, and the book is about a time travel, mainly. But there are the two distinct places that you travel in time in my book. One is a small Oregon town which has a Shakespeare festival, which draws a lot of people from out of state and different areas, and it's based somewhat on the university town that I live in right now called Ashland, Oregon, which happens to have the main center of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. And the other part of it is set in the time of Shakespeare himself, rather in the latter part of the Elizabethan age. My main character is a detective in modern times named Harvey Wells, who is an ex-policeman who comes to work with an old friend of his from childhood, and they work together in a small security company doing work in the local area. And then one day his friend disappears and is later found dead, and being the partner, he naturally tries to find out what happened to his old friend. And in doing so, he gets involved in a group of people who work in the festival, including a famous actress named Anne Benchley, who's also looking for her kidnapped father, who is the artistic director of the festival. His name is Jack Benchley. And he's working mainly, though, in tandem with Ms. Benchley's secretary, a woman named Bonnie Noel. And he and Bonnie travel to San Francisco to try to find out some information about an organization called the Institute for Factual History, which is a non-profit group which happens to have an interest in seeing the demise of Jack Benchley and the Northwest Shakespeare Festival that he is an artistic director of. One of the ways they want to get rid of this Shakespeare Festival, or certainly repudiate it, is to prove that Shakespeare himself did not write his own plays, and that it's been a fabulous hoax that's been passed down through the generations, that Shakespeare, this Warwickshire actor, somehow was a frontman for different people that have been speculated upon since at least the 19th century by very prominent people, like Sigmund Freud or Mark Twain, Henry James. Down to today, there's a little cottage industry of people writing books about Shakespeare, and that William Shakespeare was a illiterate or semi-literate actor who was a front for someone like Edmund de Vere, who was the 15th or 16th Earl of Oxford, I forget which, or Francis Bacon, who was a famous philosopher and later Lord Chancellor of England under James I. And the story to me intrigued me because I thought, what if you could go back in time and change history, and what value would there be if you could change history? I mean, the obvious points that have been brought up in time. You could avert wars or start wars, or you could, in extreme cases, you could go run off and kill your grandparents so you wouldn't be born, or something like that. Which I suppose would save a lot of money on income tax, but I don't know what purpose it would be. But I thought, what if you could go back in history to prove something? And in this case, the time travel technology was being used by Jack Benchley to photograph and document through motion picture film the actual Elizabethan age, not a mock-up, not a CGI of Elizabethan England, but the actual Elizabethan age. I don't want to go too much further into it than that, because the main part of the story is a detective story, trying to find out who did it, who killed the friend of my main character, Harvey Wells, and can he do anything not only to bring these people to justice, but to stop their plans for making Shakespeare a non-entity in his own catalog of work. In other words, steal his legacy for their own nefarious and, for them, hopefully profitable ends. this little group of people in modern time who are using technology to, you could say, colonize the past through setting up false evidence and a trail of lies that people will accept for the truth because they don't know that the time travel technology exists. Well, it's an interesting idea. If you want to read the book for yourself, it's called Cursed Spite, and it's available on Amazon, and it's also available at cursedspite.com, which is my own site. And if you'd like to find out more about the book, you can always get in contact with me directly. My name is Douglas Noakes, and I have a website for Cursed Spite, and you can also reach me at douglasnoakes@charter.com or just dnoakes@charter.net. And I'd be happy to hear from you, and I hope that you'll consider at least taking a look at this book and finding out more about it, and maybe you would like it. If you like mysteries and you like historical fiction, this might be the book for you. It might be something you might be something you want to pass a little bit of time with. So I thank you for your time now, and I look forward to hearing from you, and enjoy the rest of your day.